Let's be joined now by a genuine healthcare expert, Dr. Jane Orient, Executive Director of the Association of American Physicians and Surgeons. Jane, as always, it is so good to have you here on America's Forum. Thanks for Skyping in from back in Arizona. Great to have you here.
Thanks, JD. We missed you here.
Well, bless your heart. It's great to have you on with the miracle of modern communications. Jane, let me ask you. You recently wrote an article, if I could paraphrase, saying, hey, don't get your hopes up that we'll see the repeal of Obamacare. Why not?
It's grown like kudzu, which I guess was called the vine that ate the South. It's just like any entitlement. It was designed to creep into everything, to spread its roots everywhere, and to get people who are making money from it deeply entrenched in the system. Insurance companies, navigators, big hospitals, they don't want to lose their benefits. The media is focusing on these few people who claim to have health care for the first time in their lives, which I doubt is the truth. I think that they've got insurance or their name on an insurance card confused with actually getting any medical care. But the media focuses on them. But the huge barrier to getting it repealed is all these other folks who are growing on it like mistletoe.
So we have the institutional kudzu, and though I represented Arizona in the Congress, I'm a native North Carolinian, so I know whereof you speak about kudzu in the South just continuing to grow, the institutional bureaucratic costs. But Jane, also in your article, you talked about a kind of personal and political cost for members of Congress and others in government. Once a benefit is put into place, members of Congress are loath to repeal it. Do you really think that's the attitude on the part of the incoming Republican majority?
I think that a lot of them are dedicated to the idea of repealing it, but I think the ones who are in charge have already surrendered preemptively, and at least Speaker Boehner apparently has a lot of vested interest in the stocks that he holds and the healthcare industry, which is doing just fine at the moment.
Well, we have 2 minutes remaining in this segment, Jane, and though you've graciously said you'll stay with us through the next segment, when you speak critically of Speaker Boehner, it brings to mind the question, since the House is convening in about 50 minutes, the first vote will be on Speaker. Do you think John Boehner should remain in that post?
I think that he has already signaled that he is opposed to the will of the voters that spoke in the 2014 election, but I think he may well remain simply because he is willing to punish people who disagree with him by just depriving them of any position in which they might be able to accomplish something.
And this notion of once someone receives a benefit or once it's in place, it's tough to reverse it. It sounds not only like Obamacare, Jane Orient, but also the whole prospect of amnesty. A little bit afield from medical care, but not really, because illegals are allowed to get Obamacare. Is this analogous somewhat to the amnesty being funded by moving forward even in the short term through March with Homeland Security and through September with funding Obamacare?
Oh, absolutely. Once you give someone something from the government, it's really hard to take it away. There will be all kinds of sad stories, but that's because the invisible, forgotten person from whom you took the benefit in the first place really has no effective voice.
Well, Jane Orient, you give a voice to the free market orientation for medicine, and we're going to ask you to stay with us through the break. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the newcomers to Congress, some of their stated intentions, and could this injection of new blood, if I'm exhausting a medical metaphor, could it be, here's another, just what the doctor ordered? We'll talk more with Dr. Jane Orient about the future of Obamacare and the immediate future of the 114th Congress as we continue here on America's Forum. There's lots more to come as we're counting down not only to the start of midpoint, but to the start of the new 114th Congress. So stay with us here on Newsmax TV.